Alright, today I'm going to review the Cold Steel Ti-Lite. No, I'm not. This is not an actual Ti-Lite, even though it sure looks like one, doesn't it? So this is a clone. I found it on GearBest. It's the so-called Swordfish knife by Cima. And yeah, it rips off the Ti-Lite. And you know what I think in general about clones and knockoffs? I don't like them. In this case, what can I say? It was $10. And I like this design. It's the flipper version of the switchblade, a traditional automatic stiletto knife, which are illegal in Canada. These here are not. So yeah, it was interesting. And the genuine Ti-Lite, depending on the material, they come in different versions. It's anything between $45 and $200. And this one, as said, 10. And this is not an everyday carry tool knife, obviously. This is just a collector's knife, or, well, if you are allowed to carry a knife for self-defense in your area. Even if you are, I think some police officers might not be too happy about this in particular. So yeah, there isn't really much practical purpose to something like this. I just find it pretty cool, and I wanted one to mess around with, so I got it. It's hard to argue with that. 10 Canadian dollars versus 45 at the very least, and up to 200. Now, of course, the materials used here aren't as good. The steel is different. This is made of 5CR15 MOV stainless steel, which is, you know, a fairly cheap steel. It's tough and it's got high corrosion resistance, but somewhat poor edge retention. Good news is it's easy to sharpen. And so the steel can be decent. It just depends on the heat treatment, which they don't tell you, so who knows. And the handle, well, on the website it says stainless steel, but I'm pretty sure this is aluminum, or it might also be plastic. It's actually kind of hard to tell. It could very well be plastic, maybe some cheap equivalent to Zytel or something like that. It definitely is not G10, and it's not steel. I mean, it's got steel liners, so that's probably what they mean. Here you can see the liner lock. So this is something that I really like about this particular design. And I haven't seen it on any other knife other than the Ti-Lite. I don't understand why. This is the most comfortable liner lock that I've tried so far. I mean, it's also quite practical. It's large, it's easy to activate, and yeah, as I said, it is very comfortable. There's nothing abrasive on it, and yeah, it just works. It works very well. So it's kind of odd that we don't see this sort of thing more often. So it looks quite nice at first glance, and you know, overall the finish is quite good, no doubt about it. What I of course don't like is that Cima slaps their name on it. Although, to be fair, I still prefer that over counterfeiting the thing. If they had put the Cold Steel logo on it, that would be worse. Although on second thought, you can argue it's even more of a dick move to copy someone else's design without even giving them credit and just slapping your own logo on it and be like, here, I made this. There are some minor differences to the point where I wonder why did they even bother to change anything at all, because the thing overall looks exactly like that. It's just the pivot screw looks different, the holes are different. On the original Ti-Lite, there are 2 rows of smaller holes, whereas this here has got the larger ones. And this here has only 2 screws, whereas the Ti-Lite has several. Very minor differences. The grind is slightly different. Otherwise, it's the same thing. Even the shape of the flipper and guard here are the same. So yeah, pretty obvious clone. I am aware of my hypocrisy here. Even though I'm complaining about the fact that they copied the design, I ordered it. I'm putting the link in the description. So yeah, I'm actually even supporting this, which I'm not really happy about, frankly, but at the same time, I know that there are plenty of people who cannot afford the price of the original, and they will be happy to see that there is a cheap $10 Knockoff available. So yeah, it is what it is. There are of course some drawbacks here. Like I mentioned, the material quality isn't the same, and what I'm very much noticing here is the blade play. I don't know if you can see that, but the blade has quite a bit of play side to side. Even a little bit front to back as well. I also noticed a problem with the lock that I'm going to show you in a moment. So the way this is designed, you can see the guard sticks out here. And so you can, as you draw it, you can hook it on your pants and open it that way, which requires some practice. It doesn't work every time, so you have to get good at that. But what I noticed is after trying this a couple of times, the lock got jammed. So you can see here, it shifted all the way over to the right side, and I could not press it down with my fingers. I actually had to get a pry bar and push it forcefully to the side. And apparently that happened from the force of snapping this out like that, because it's of course a lot more force than just flicking it open like this, because you're kind of wrenching it out of the pants and out of the pocket. I mean, you're wrenching it out of the pants. That sounds really weird. Anyway, so yeah, this does not put quite as much stress on it, and especially if you just open it with the thumb stud, of course it's not a problem at all. Or you can also push on this to open it that way. There are a number of ways. So yeah, sometimes that can happen. If you flick it open with a lot of force, the lock can jam. And yeah, it's a bit of a bummer. Again, not really unexpected for a $10 knife. The blade itself seems all right. I'm going to show you the sharpness. I haven't done much cutting with this because it's not really designed for that. This is really intended to be a stabby little bugger. That's really all it is. Stabbing is what it's supposed to do. It is decently sharp, as you can see. So you could cut with it. It's just not really the idea behind it. The idea is basically this. So as you can see, for its intended purpose, it works fine. So theoretically, it could be carried for self-defense. But I say theoretically because who on earth would trust a $10 knife with their life? Doesn't seem like a good idea, really. Not to mention all the legal problems in a lot of places and all that. So one other thing I want to do is do the spine whack test. So I'll eat some protection, stylish protection as it happens to be. And I've got an arm shield here. And I'm just gonna whack the spine on it just to see what happens. Okay, so because I'm not resting this on anything, the impact isn't quite as hard as it could otherwise be. But yeah, you can see even a $10 knife doesn't really have a problem with that. Okay, so I'm supporting this on my leg now for more resistance. Yeah, not a problem. So this is why I'm a little skeptical when it comes to these spine whack tests. Like, for one, it doesn't really represent any regular use. I mean, when would this ever be an issue? And you can see even a cheapo knife like this that has some blade play, even this will hold up. I mean, you can see with a lock like this, there's not really any way that could fail. You know, the entire liner would have to bend or something like that, or it would have to slip out of the way, and with how large it is, it can't even go anywhere. So it's not really a concern. Well, since I already have this here, what the heck, why not? Let's see if that did anything to the blade. Oh, it's still straight, because that's what I was wondering, if it might bend from stabbing hard material, but no, it's still fine. Ah, it did it again. Lock jammed. So yeah, this is the main problem. The lock definitely has a tendency to jam up. That's no good. The centering is good, as you can see, but because the blade has some play, you can see if I push on this, this moves quite a lot. The nice thing is that, you know, it is properly designed. Obviously, they ripped off the design. You can see here on the back, that pillar is what stops the base of the blade. In other words, even if you close it forcefully, there is no way that the edge would touch anything on the inside, any of the pillars. The edge is definitely protected. So yeah, it's a cheaper version of the original design, and it comes with its caveats, of course, but it is cheap if you are interested in this design and can't afford $45 for, you know, the cheapest version, let alone 100, 150 to 200 for the higher end ones, then this would be an option. So you can check out the link in the video description. I do like having this because, as I said, this is one of those things that are just kind of fun to mess around with, because I'm not going to carry this. This would not be legal to carry in Canada. So for me, it's just a collector's item, something to pick up occasionally and flick open and whatever, and just kind of enjoy. That's there. And for that, it doesn't need to be top-notch quality, of course. So it's pretty all right for this purpose. Anyway, hope you found the review helpful, and thanks for watching. And I'll give you your lunch money, or your Starbucks money. Come on.